Okay, so picture this. You're standing in this huge city. The buildings are all brass and polished metal. It's sort of Victorian. But you look up, and there's no sky. No sun, no clouds. Just this immense, solid wall of chromium that goes up forever.
And the people walking around you aren't like us. They're mechanical, made of aluminum, titanium, gold. And here's the really wild part. They don't eat. They don't breathe oxygen. They run on compressed air.
It sounds like something from a dream, right? But the source material for this, a story called Exhalation, it's framed as a memoir. It's a first-hand account from an anatomist living inside this sealed mechanical world.
Exactly. A scientific journal, really.
And when I first read it, I thought, okay, cool, robot people swapping out lungs. But it very quickly turns into this detective story. It starts with a simple mystery. Why are all the clocks in the city suddenly running fast?
And that's the hook. But as we're going to see, this isn't just about a broken clock. This deep dive is going to take us from a simple timekeeping problem into, well, the second law of thermodynamics, the nature of memory, and what might be the most terrifying existential crisis a civilization could ever face.
It is heavy, but it's also beautiful in a really strange way. So our mission today is to unpack this world. We'll look at the biology of these beings, we'll solve the clock mystery, and then confront what that solution actually means for them.
And maybe for us, too.
Yeah, honestly, it changed how I look at our own universe. But let's start with the basics. What is daily life like when you live in a sealed chromium box?
Well, the biology, if you want to call it that, is fascinating. Life is fueled by air, specifically argon. Every day, each person has to physically open their own chest, pull out 2 empty aluminum lungs, and plug in 2 full ones.
I love how physical that is. For us, eating is pretty passive. Here, staying alive is like a minor surgical procedure you do on yourself every morning.
It is. And the stakes are way higher than just getting a little hungry. If you wake up and your pressure is low, you feel sluggish. You can feel yourself slowing down.
So you pop open your chest, disconnect the old tanks, slot in the new ones.
And if you don't, or if you run out completely, you don't, choke. You just freeze instantly.
Wow. And this whole system creates a pretty unique social structure, right? The source talks about these filling stations.
Right. Think of them like a combination of a gas station and, I don't know, a local coffee shop. They're social hubs. You go there, you hook your empty lungs up to these big dispensers on the wall.
And these dispensers are all connected to this one massive underground source.
The great lung of the world.
That sounds almost religious. Like it's not just a utility, it's a god.
In a way, it is. It's the source of all life, all movement. And there's this really touching custom the narrator mentions. If you're talking to someone at a filling station, it's polite to offer them one of your freshly filled lungs while they wait for theirs.
That's such a great little detail. It's like saying, hey, we're all in this together. We all draw from the same well.
Exactly. It builds a sense of community. But it's a community that lives inside a box. The narrator says he's traveled to the edge of the world, and he's seen that chromium wall. It just goes up and up. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out.
So you've got this stable, pretty content society, sharing air, swapping lungs, and then the glitch. The clock anomaly.
It all starts with the public criers. These are guys whose job is to recite news or poetry. And every new year, there's this specific hour-long poem they recite. It's a tradition.
Like the ball drop in Times Square. Everyone knows the rhythm. They know how long it takes.
Right. But one year, a crier reports something weird. The big turret clock in the town square chimed the hour before he finished his poem.
Huh. My first thought is, okay, the crier was just talking slow that day. Maybe his voice box was glitching.
That was everyone's first thought. Or maybe it was a prank. But then reports start coming in from all over. Different districts, different clocks, pendulum clocks, water clocks. They're all striking the hour too early.
So now everyone thinks the clocks are broken. They call in the horologists, the clock experts.
And this is where it gets really strange. The horologists take the clocks apart. They check them against their most precise calibration tools. And the clocks are perfect. They're keeping time exactly as they were built to.
Okay, wait. So if the clocks are working perfectly and the poem hasn't changed, that doesn't add up.
It doesn't. And this is where our narrator, the anatomist, starts to get involved. He has a suspicion that this isn't a problem with mechanics. It's a problem with biology. But studying biology in this world is tricky.
Why? I mean, they're machines. You'd think you could just pop the hood and take a look.
You'd think so, but remember, they're full of high-pressure air. If one of these beings dies in an accident, the lungs usually rupture. It's an explosion.
Oh.
The body is blown apart, and the most delicate part, the brain, is just shredded.
So they almost never get a chance to study an intact brain.
Almost never. When they find a body, the head is usually just filled with, like, a cloud of shattered gold foil, which led to this huge debate about how memory even works.
Right. The source talks about two main theories. The inscription hypothesis.
And the gear and switch hypothesis.
Mhm.
The inscription idea is pretty straightforward. It says memories are physically etched onto those little gold foil sheets, like a tiny phonograph record.
Makes sense. You write something down to remember it.
But our narrator, he doesn't buy it. He's like, if memories are carved in gold, why do we forget things? And engraving is permanent. So he leans toward the other theory.
The gears and switches, like a mechanical computer.
Exactly. That memories are stored in the position of millions of tiny switches. If you die, the shockwave from the explosion resets all the switches to zero. The hardware's fine, but the software, your memory is wiped clean.
So he wants to solve this debate, and he thinks it's connected to the clocks. And to do it, he decides to perform what has to be the most insane experiment I have ever heard of.
Autodissection.
He's going to dissect his own brain.
Yeah. While he's conscious, he builds this incredibly complex setup with mirrors, like a periscope, so he can see the back of his own head.
And he can't use his own hands, so he builds a set of remote-controlled manipulators.
So just picture it. He's sitting there looking into this periscope, and with his own hands, he's controlling these robot hands that are unscrewing the plates on the back of his own skull.
That is just unbelievable, to have that kind of scientific curiosity.
And when he finally gets the plates off and looks inside, it's not gears. It's not foil records.
Yeah.
He sees this immense, beautiful lattice work of air capillaries and tiny, shimmering gold leaves.
The big reveal. So what is he looking at? What are these gold leaves doing?
They're like tiny flaps or valves, and they aren't fixed in place. They're floating, suspended on currents of air. He realizes the brain isn't a solid-state computer, it's a pneumatic computer.
So air isn't just the power source, like the battery.
No, that's the huge breakthrough. Air is the medium of thought. Your consciousness, your memories, they're all just a complex, flowing pattern of air moving through these gold leaves.
And that's why death is so final. If the air pressure drops, the leaves just collapse. The pattern is gone forever.
Exactly. The system is incredibly fast because there's almost no friction, but it's also incredibly fragile. That's the trade-off.
Okay, so he's sitting there literally watching his own thoughts as patterns of air in a mirror, which is poetic, but how does that explain the clocks?
This is where it all clicks together. He starts playing with the air pressure in his lab, and he notices that the speed of the gold leaves, how fast they can flip back and forth, depends on the friction from the surrounding air.
Okay, let's break that down. This is the absolute key to the whole thing.
Right. Think about moving your hand through water versus moving it through the air. The water provides more resistance, so you move slower. For the gold leaves, the air itself provides resistance.
So if the background air pressure in the room gets higher...
There's more drag.
Yeah.
The leaves move slower.
And if the leaves move slower, thought slows down. Oh.
He's right. That's the horrifying realization. The clocks aren't running fast. The clocks are dumb machines, ticking away just like they always have.
The people are thinking slowly.
The entire population is thinking more slowly.
That is genuinely terrifying. It's not that time is speeding up for you. It's that you are slowing down for time.
Exactly. Your brain takes 2 seconds to process what used to take 1 second. So when you look at a clock, the second hand seems to jump forward twice as fast.
But why? Why would everyone's brains slow down at the same rate all at once?
Because of the chromium wall. They're in a sealed chamber.
Right.
He realizes the only explanation is that the background atmospheric pressure in their entire universe is rising.
How?
Think about it. Every time someone swaps a lung, they take high-pressure air from the great lung, use it, and then release it as lower-pressure exhaust into the atmosphere.
They're exhaling.
They are all exhaling into a sealed room. And that air has nowhere to go. It just builds up.
So the pressure in the great lung is going down, and the pressure in their atmosphere is going up.
The pressure differential is shrinking. And that differential is what drives the whole system. It's what pushes the air through their brains. As that difference gets smaller, the flow gets weaker.
This completely changes their definition of life. They used to think air is life.
But it's not. The narrator realizes life isn't the air itself. The room is full of air. Life is the difference in pressure. Life is the flow. When the pressure is the same everywhere, everything stops.
Equilibrium.
The end of the world. He realizes their entire universe is moving toward a state where the atmospheric pressure will equal the reservoir pressure. And when that happens, total, absolute stillness.
So he publishes his findings, and I'm
Yeah.
guessing people don't take it well.
It causes mass panic. Imagine being told that every breath you take, every word you speak is actively using up the finite lifespan of reality. People start fighting over wasted breath.
Oh man, the guilt.
It's immense. Art, music, conversation, it all becomes an act of cosmic vandalism. A group called the reversalists even forms. They try to build these huge compressors to pump the air back into the reservoir.
But I'm guessing thermodynamics has something to say about that.
Thermodynamics is a cruel mistress. The tragedy is the engines they build to run the compressors consume more air pressure than they put back. You can't win. You can't even break even.
Every attempt to save their world just makes the end come faster.
It's the law of entropy in action. The narrator finally accepts that their universe is just one long, slow exhalation. And once that breath is finished, that's it.
So, faced with this, he changes his whole purpose for writing. He knows people are doomed. He starts writing for someone else, for the explorer.
And this is where the story becomes so incredibly beautiful and meta. He speculates that maybe, just maybe, outside their chromium wall, other universes exist. And one day, an explorer from one of those universes might drill through.
An explorer like us, coming into a silent world long after everything has stopped.
He paints this picture of a tableau. We'd find their cities perfectly preserved, people frozen mid-stride in the street like statues.
Because they didn't decay, the pressure just equalized and they stopped.
He just stopped. And he's writing his story down, not to warn us, but for one very specific reason, so that he can live again.
But he just said that once the pattern is gone, it's gone.
Physically, yes. But he says that by reading his words, by following his logic, by picturing his world, our brains will simulate the pattern of his thoughts.
The pattern of my thoughts will be simulated in the explorer's brain. That line gave me chills. Because that's what we're doing right now.
We are the explorers. By having this conversation, by thinking about his ideas, we're literally reinstantiating a piece of his consciousness in our own minds. We're the hardware he's running on.
It's telepathy across universes. It's just...
Wow.
And his final tone isn't angry or sad. It's
Yeah.
grateful.
Which is so incredible. He's facing total annihilation, but he's grateful. He's grateful that the universe began in that high-pressure state in the first place, that it started with a breath being held, which allowed life to exist at all. He knows his life was just a temporary eddy in a cosmic flow, but he's so glad he got to be an eddy.
It's a huge shift from why are the clocks wrong to thank you for letting me exist.
And that's really the connection for us, for the listener. Our universe works on a very similar principle.
We don't run on argon, though.
No, but we run on energy gradients. The sun is hot, deep space is cold. That flow of energy from hot to cold is what powers everything. Life, thought, all of it. But our universe is also tending toward equilibrium.
The heat death of the universe.
Exactly. Entropy always wins. Eventually, all the stars will burn out, the energy will spread out evenly, and our universe will also become still and quiet. We're also living inside one long, slow exhalation.
It's just happening on a scale of trillions of years instead of a few generations. But the direction is the same.
The arrow of time points the same way for us all. And that's the final question the narrator leaves for us, the explorers.
He asks if the same fate awaits us.
And he says, if it does, the only logical response is to contemplate the marvel that is existence and rejoice that you were able to do so.
It's a call to just pay attention, to appreciate the flow while it's flowing. The fact that we can even have this conversation, that we can think about these things, is the miracle.
It frames consciousness not as a thing you have, but as something that is happening, a process. And the act of trying to understand it all is maybe the best way to honor it.
Well, Explorer, that was our deep dive. We've seen a chromium sky, looked inside a pneumatic brain, and stared into the face of entropy.
And hopefully in doing so, we've kept the narrator's pattern alive just a little while longer.
Exactly. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep asking questions.
And appreciate every breath.